First of all, Michael, obviously the start of pre-season's almost here. How much are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, really looking forward to it, actually. It's been a good break, particularly, the way we had to deal with last season where we just kind of run from one season into the next and the break was very, very short. So this season, we've had a longer break, which I think will benefit everyone, not just the players, the staff, and I think the whole club as a whole, to be honest. And, we look forward to a really good pre-season. We've got it all mapped out, spent a lot of work in planning it. And as I say, we just look forward to get the players back.
As part of your plans, you've lined up a week-long training camp in Northern Ireland. How important will that week be?
It's very important. It's very difficult to organise pre-season at the minute, and again with all the different restrictions obviously still in place, and obviously I think the speed at which the restrictions can change, it makes it very difficult to plan that. So obviously we took a lot of guidance on that, and our decision was based around where we should stay in the UK. We felt that it was important to go somewhere, and that pretty much leaves really Scotland or Northern Ireland. We had a good experience there last year. It was a good game against Linfield, who we'll play again this year. And the hotel's an excellent facility and the training facility. So the players enjoyed it last year. And as I say, it made sense to do the same again.
For that trip to Northern Ireland, your squad may have a different look to it, and we've already seen a few players leave. In particular, Nathan Collins, was that a difficult decision to make?
Yeah, of course it's a difficult decision when you have to sell a young player. And Nathan, as a player that was on the periphery of the team, really, when I came into the club, he was a player with huge potential that, we had to try and get him through and get him into the team. And certainly last season he did that and was having a very good season prior to the injury that he picked up. But I think that, where the club is at this minute in time, we have to trade. I think that's something as a club that we haven't done particularly well over the last few years. I think it's important that you trade, which means you selling players and buying alternative players, hopefully always at a profit. And I think it's very important you do that as a club, particularly in the situation that the club is in at this minute in time. In the ideal world, we would have kept Nathan and he would have played, a long time for Stoke and hopefully played in this Premier League for Stoke. But at this minute in time, it's the right decision for the club. The player was obviously keen to pursue the move as well, which is always important when you come to any decision. And, we brought, another young centre back to the club. And obviously we have, some funds to help us with financial fair play and possibly further invest in the team as well.
You've alluded to Ben Wilmot there. What was it that attracted you to him?
Well, we knew Ben really, because we haven't played against us for Watford. And like anything, Alex on his team had done a very thorough job on him. We liked the fact that he had the composure to play on the ball. Really good pedigree there as well. Had come from, obviously Stevenage to Watford as well. His journey was interesting for us. He's not a player coming from, who's been at a Premier League club, for example, from a very young age. So I think that's always something you take into consideration. And the other thing was that Ben was so enthusiastic about coming. He was very keen to pursue the move. And we had really good references. Craig Cathcart, who was a big part of my Northern Ireland team, gave Ben some really glowing references and felt he's a top young player. And those are all the things that help you make a decision. And I think he'd be a really good addition to the squad.
The transfer market in general seems to be swinging into action now. Do you hope to be busy?
Yeah, I think all managers hope to be busy. I still think there'll be a lot of more possibly trading players and loans, and there will be actual fees being spent by clubs, particularly in the Championship. I don't think you'll see a lot of money spent in the Championship. There's obviously players have to be much more realistic in terms of their expectations, salary-wise as well. The landscape has changed quite dramatically for players and that side of things. So yeah, look, we still have a lot of work to do on this squad. Every year, if you look back over the last 12 months, we've had to send players out on loan and try and recycle, some of that money back into the squad. It's never a temporary, or rather, it's never a permanent solution. It's always a temporary solution. And hopefully, as we come through those situations a little bit more, then we'll be in a better position to do things on a more permanent basis. And certainly, this transfer window, hopefully, we can go again, add some real, good young players to our squad, add the right older players to our squad as well, and overall make the squad stronger than it's been.
Last year, you made use of the loan market. Is that an area that you may look to use again?
I think we have to. That's the reality of where the club is at the minute. I think all clubs in the Championship use the loan market. It gives you access to quality players from Premier League clubs, possibly players who are just on the fringe of things with their respective Premier League clubs. So yeah, I think it's something we will look at. I don't think it's something we look at early in the transfer window. Typically, it is something that happens later in the transfer window, and also those players that you would really want, their parent clubs have to make a decision on where they are in their plans for this season. But we've already earmarked a number of players that would be options for us to take on loan, but it won't happen in the early weeks of July, to be honest.
In terms of the players that you did bring in on loan last year, could you maybe revisit any of them this time round?
Possibly, yeah. Obviously we brought Clark in, we brought Norrington Davis in, and we brought Matondo in January. They were all young players, to be honest. I felt probably of the three, Reece did the best because obviously I think he had the most experience, having had 6 months in the Championship previously with Luton. And we were very pleased with what Reece gave us over the 6 months he was here. It's more difficult now because his club is obviously in the same league as us and the same division as us. So he has to, find out what his situation would be there before we would explore that any further. Equally, we'll have a fit Alfie Doughty to play on the left-hand side of the pitch as well. We're really pleased with how Josh Timon did, particularly in the latter games of the season as well. So yeah, I think you always, the fact that we've had those players, we know what to expect from them, and it was a mixed bag. It wasn't perfect by any means, but Jack showed real potential and what he's capable of, and Robbie showed glimpses of why Robbie has been obviously moved for the level of transfer fee that he has. But again, those are things that will probably develop as the window develops.
You spoke towards the end of last season that in terms of the young academy players, you'd like to see some of them go out on loan, and we've already seen Connor Taylor go to Bristol Rovers. Can we maybe expect a few more things to happen?
Yeah, I think so. That it's really important for those players in the development. I felt when I came to the club, we had a lot of good lads here in the under-23s, but if I'm honest, they were too old. They'd been here probably a year, maybe 2 years too long, and possibly not had that loan that they needed. I think that a lot of our younger players, we have to do the right thing for them, and I think that will be to go out and loan. They've played enough under-23 football now, and we have to find out what they are like in the men's game, and then hopefully a loan is a positive. It's a development loan. It's not a loan saying that they don't have a future at Stoke City. It's a loan saying that it's part of their development. We see the benefit, as I've talked about many times. Even a loan lower down, it doesn't always have to go really well for the young player. It's the experience of being out there, and sometimes even a loan which is disappointing can be a real motivation for a player when he comes back. Tyrese's loan at Shrewsbury wasn't an amazing success, to be honest, but it was enough possibly for Tyrese to say, well, look, I need the motivation here to become the player that I believe I can be, and work as hard as I can at Stoke City. Harry's was again similar type of loan, and that's the nature of why these young players will be going out on loan. It's for their development, and hopefully, the development of their career here at Stoke City.
In terms of some of the players that were injured towards the end of last season, how are the likes of Morgan Fox, Alfie Doherty, and Tyrese Campbell progressing?
Well, Morgan and Alfie should be fit to join us at the start of pre-season. They've worked very hard. Tyrese is slightly different. He's doing a lot of work. I haven't got the exact stats of where he is just at this minute in time. I know he's working very hard with the medical team, and it'll be, Tyrese. The nature of Tyrese's injury is that he has to be stepped up very, very gradually. To understand what he's capable of. He has to be measured extremely well and monitored very, very closely. and that'll continue. So we won't be rushing Ty in any shape or form. We're not putting any type of timeline on Ty's return to play in terms of that he'll be fit for the start of the season or anything. The most important thing is that if we have to give him extra weeks or extra months to get there, that's what we'll do. We'll make sure that, because we're looking longer term here with this injury and this player, that we make sure that he's handled with real care to make sure that we protect him long term.
The fixtures were released on Wednesday. What did you make of them? You start home to Reading.
Yeah, if I'm 100% honest, I didn't look at them that closely because I had my second COVID jab on Wednesday, and it knocked me out Wednesday and Thursday, to be honest. So today's the first day I've been back up on my feet since having my second COVID jab. So I'll get a chance to look at them, and there's plenty of time to look at them between now and obviously the start of the season. It's not going to change. It's the Championship. The games are all going to be very competitive. So as I say, I'm not too concerned about those at this moment in time.
Well, obviously they'll have the long-awaited return of supporters next season. How much are you looking forward to having them back in the stadium?
Yeah, really looking forward to that, because I've not had the supporters in the stadium for a long, portion of the time that I've been in charge. It was really from November to March, and what was a very difficult time for the club. We're trying to get away from the bottom of the league, so I look forward to, first of all, having the stadium full and the supporters back, but I also look forward to seeing the supporters when hopefully we have a better, more competitive team and in a better position in the league to really give the supporters something to be positive about as well. So yeah, it's going to be a big positive to have the fans back.
Since before then, you want to get plenty of work done on the pitch and off the pitch.
Yeah, there's loads of work to be done. We have a very detailed pre-season that we've spent a lot of time on. We've seen the benefit of the younger players coming through. We've seen the benefit of having good older players around them, and that process will continue, to be honest. So we want those younger players to push on and become mainstays in the team, and as I say, hopefully add good players around them as well.